The following is an EHC media production.
Hey guys, what is going on? This is Brian Green, your host of whereXT, your very sporadic look at the weekly who, what, when, where, why, how, what's going on in Full Sail University and the land of NXT. And hey, I haven't been around for a while. I've been on a hiatus taking care of some important things, like something I am taking care of today. Today I moved to my brand new apartment in beautiful Long Beach, California. Looking forward to that. It's been a long time coming. It's been 9 years of renting rooms, couch surfing, just kind of looking for, a stable roof over my home. Unfortunately, you learn in life sometimes that the people you trust and the people you were raised with aren't really those who you're supposed to trust. Sometimes blood is not thicker than water or any other substance out there. Sometimes beer is a little bit better than blood, if you know what I mean. Gotta turn to your buddies. There's plenty of other loved ones out there to take care of you. And over these last few weeks, I've had to kind of learn that lesson. Kind of had to take a step back, take inventory of my life, and kind of take a fresh look and relearn how to be grateful for the things that I have. And fortunately, I did find an apartment. No more recording this show in Fiat studios or having to kind of be embarrassed to record it in a room next to someone who, I'm not familiar with. It's going to be completely in the comfort of my own home. Going to do the show more often. Going to bring some new content on. Maybe add some production qualities. Going to have some more guests. Very excited to be back. That was one big hurdle I was trying to overcome for quite some time. And now that, today we're moving, I actually can't do that long of a show. So gonna jump right into the show here. Not gonna waste too much time, but that is what kept me from doing this. So I'm very happy to say that my quest is over. And now, perfect time to do it. Gonna get to watch my very first WrestleMania in the comfort of my own home. Not my first WrestleMania, the first WrestleMania in my own place. That's pretty cool. But anywho, let's get into this week's show. Something they've been doing lately with Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano is that they've had these Facebook feeds and Twitter feeds where Ciampa's posting videos at 3 a.m. of Johnny just banging on his window. You see a video of Otis Dozvig and Tucker Knight, heavy machinery they were leaving, and just going on about stakes and weights and that was a good bulk sesh, brother. These guys are so weird and entertaining. I miss talking about these two. They're walking in the parking lot. They see Johnny Gargano just kind of leaning against his car. They say, "Hey, Johnny, what are you doing?" And Johnny Gargano just kind of coldly says, Tommaso has to come out of there sometime. And he sees Ciampa come out of the building, and he sees him getting in his car, and he runs the car down, beats the guy up. Several of these videos are online. You got to go hunt these down and check them out. They didn't air them on TV. I don't know if they ever will, but they're doing a great job of following this over social media. And Johnny and Ciampa, they're great friends. They're able to invade each other's lives and not feel super weird about it. So this is good for them. Anyway, as the show opens, Ciampa is coming to the Full Sail Arena, and he's booed by the crowd of fans that's kind of standing around watching his car get valeted. William Regal is then approached by Ciampa, and Ciampa kind of goes, "What the hell is going on here? What kind of show are you running? You let Johnny come to my house. He's attacking me in my personal trainer sessions. He's attacking me here where I work, and he doesn't. What's going on?" And Regal kind of agrees. He says, he's out of line, and unfortunately, I think there's only one way we can stop him. So it's going to be you against Johnny Gargano in an unsanctioned match at NXT TakeOver New Orleans. And Ciampa kind of says, "Do you know what this means? You know what you just gifted me an opportunity to kind of destroy this guy. So this is, once I beat him, he's gone for good." And that's kind of the stipulation. If Johnny Gargano wins, he gets his job back. And if Ciampa wins, Gargano was banished from NXT for good. So some very high stakes matches going on in NXT and on the WWE side of things coming out of this week. So very exciting. We knew this match was going to come. I don't know which way they're going to go. Very interesting to see if they'll kind of keep Johnny out of there and put him back up on the main roster, or if they'll keep him down in NXT to see that rivalry play out. Maybe Johnny could put some prestige in that North American Championship. You never know what can go on. And, when I thought Authors of Pain would be moving up to the main roster shortly after their title reign, but you kind of see what they're getting shuffled around down there with, working with some new storylines, kind of. I think their longevity got stretched out in this Dusty Classics tournament, but anywho, let's progress onward to get to them. William Regal comes out through the crowd. These guys love Regal. Who doesn't love William Regal? With that wonderful, glorious, legendary music of his, he gets a nice reception from the crowd. And he talks about how the UK Championship brought light to names like Tyler Bate, Trent Seven, Wolfgang, Mark Andrews, and Pete Dunne. He then went on to mention that in the North American region of the world, there's an excess amount of talent, waiting to be showcased, highlighted, discovered, and NXT is a great ground for that talent to swell up and evolve into greatness. He said something like that, some shit. He announced the North American Championship and was interrupted by EC3, which got a huge reception from the crowd. His theme song said, "I am the 1%," and automatically everyone knew who that was. So stood on the stage, pointed to the letters on the Titantron, very ultra charismatic in his debut here. He fit right in with the WWE style of promo. He cut a very good one in the ring here with Regal. He was basking in the ambiance of the moment because he said he deserved it. This guy was just on point with his promo here. He was actually gifted his first t-shirt idea here. The crowd started to chant NX3, and, you should thank these guys for your first t-shirt sale check, buddy. He said that Regal was too generous to award him a brand new championship on his first night. Regal stopped him and, corrected him and said, "Hey, you're going to fight 5 other guys for this belt in the ladder match at TakeOver New Orleans." But EC3 was gifted the first slot in that match, so be grateful. Up next, Street Profits against the Authors of Pain. It took about 20 minutes to get into the first match of the night here. As the Street Profits came down, I remember seeing Dawkins in one of Xavier Woods' early up, down, down videos. He was just kind of sitting on the floor with a headband on. He had a blank headband. There wasn't a logo on it yet. Didn't have a gimmick. Just kind of laughing along and not really even contributing to what was going on in this video about video games. And it's actually great to see him doing something now. To see him on the floor in an apartment saying his Twitter handle, it's the curse of greatness, and there was nothing really behind it at that time. It seemed too much for what he had back then. But now, seeing Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford walk into the arena, they look like stars. They have everyone in Full Sail hyped. My hope is that this gimmick will translate to the main roster and that the hype just isn't contained in the Full Sail campus. Like, that's my biggest worry with these guys, and it showed in this match here with the AOP. So Ford started the match with Razor, and he got slapped away hard after talking some trash. He kind of had it coming. These guys always have whatever bad thing that happens to them coming. They always deserve it. People get surprised. He goes and tags in Dawkins, and Dawkins actually does some pretty good offense here. Hits a real stiff forearm to Razor. Came off the rope, hit a nice European uppercut, and got some really nice height on a spine buster to Akam as he tried to run in and run interference. This is probably the best moment Dawkins has ever had to me, the best he's ever looked. And Montez Ford was super hyped about this. He was doing laps around the ring, high-fiving the crowd, had his solo cup in his hand, and, he was dancing, not really paying attention until he ran into Paul Ellering on the outside, and he went to offer Ellering a sip of whatever is in his cup, and Otis Dozovic took a sip out of that cup a few weeks ago and he got super pumped. It seemed to power him up, and that was a great spot between the two babyface teams a few weeks ago. But here, nah, Ellering wasn't having that. He threw that shit to the ground. Happy birthday to the ground. and Ford got pissed. He looked quite possessed actually, and went to stalk Ellering up the ramp. And it was kind of funny to hear Paul Ellering say, "You don't want to mess with me. You don't want to mess with me." And he didn't. He looked pretty ridiculous here because this left Angelo Dawkins wide open to get double teamed by the AOP. He ate a last chapter, the side Russian leg sweep clothesline combo in the ring, pinfall. Montez Ford didn't even have any time to get back into the ring to try to break up the cover. They looked really fucking stupid here. They don't deserve to be in the finals. I don't even know why they beat TM61 or I'd rather see Team 61 at least get this far, and instead of having Street Profits waste a spot like this in the semifinals. That's kind of ridiculous. But anywho, AOP advanced to the finals next week. Backstage, Cabby Kelly was being super annoying to William Regal all night long, and this is the first time, she asked him who else was going to be in the ladder match. And William Regal just kind of named Adam Cole as the second competitor. No reason told, but that's okay. No reason needed. It's Adam Cole, baby. I thought of that one. You're welcome. And a Velveteen Dream approached him and then said that the ladder match sounded like a great idea, but it didn't sound quite as great as it could be without having the Velveteen Dream in the match. And I agree with that. And William Regal went to praise Dream for all of his recent accomplishments, says he's been a phenomenal competitor, has nothing but praise for him, and puts him in the match. And at this point, I was kind of hoping I could just run into Regal at the market or something and kind of be like, "Hey, Regal, check out how great I can spot a bunch of bananas. I can pick produce pretty well. Don't you think that's deserving of a title shot?" And very well, young lad, you're in the match. I'm kind of hoping that goes down. Up next, Lars Sullivan against John Silver. And I hope this guy got paid well. And just to stand there during what is quite the production now for Lars's entrance. The silhouette treatment, the lighting treatment that he gets. They make this guy look like a murderer as he's entering the arena. After the first lockup, John Silver is just immediately face planted. And he's just pretty much forced to do a belly flop from a standing position, just kind of grabbed by his shoulders and thrown down. It looked like it sucked. He gets beeled into the turnbuckle twice. He landed upside down on his neck both times. Poor guy. Lars picked him up over his head, military pressed him into a power slam that could even make Braun Strowman break a sweat. And as if that wasn't enough, this dude, over 300 pounds, just flies off the top rope for a diving headbutt, buries his head right into the heart of John Silver. Then this Silver guy gets hoisted by his waist a good 8 feet up in the air above Lars's head for a high angle Uranagi slam. Freak accident, gnarliest one I've ever seen. Take 2 of Kathy Kelly just bugging William Regal because she has no other job just to follow this guy around backstage. Asked for some more names for this ladder match, and conveniently, before he's able to speak, Lars Sullivan walks in, and he says unequivocally, categorically, he promises to dominate just like he's always been doing. William Regal is great and very happy to see him back here in NXT. Gives him a spot in the ladder match, and Lars says that that's great, but he wants Killian Dane, and William Regal says, well, good news, you're going to get to fight him in the ladder match as well, because not only is he in the ladder match, but you're going to fight him here on NXT next week too. So that's pumped. NXT does a very good job at getting me hyped for, these big man versus big man matches. Whenever I would see matches like Mark Henry versus Big Show, or Kane versus like the Great Khali, or even Batista or something, like I would just kind of think of like the clunkiness of the guys. not all of the big men in the WWE at one point had that smooth athleticism, that just sheer, pure speed and agility to just kind of carry a match and not have it become like a slow molasses, just kind of, you know what I mean. If you ever seen a Kane versus Big Show match in the last, I don't know, decade or so, not the greatest display, but these guys in NXT, these Killian Danes, these Cassius Onos, these Lars Sullivans, all these big guys have such an engine on them. They can work so fast. They can keep you entertained. They can keep the crowd grasped for a match. So Lars Sullivan, Killian Dane, that sounds like a great combination of guys. I can't wait to see what they do next week. That's awesome. Gonna be nasty. Up next, Dakota Kai comes out for a match, and so I really enjoyed looking at Dakota Kai, very much so. So, looking forward to this match. And there was a call backstage for Morrow. He was saying that there was an altercation, and it was NXT champion Andrade Almas. He arrived earlier before Aleister Black did, and the camera crew was kind of waiting for these guys all night long backstage. And Almas was killing this guy. He tried to drown him in a cooler full of ice water. He then dragged him and beat him through the backstage area, just tossing him into everything, hitting him with whatever was not nailed down. He beat him up. He battered this guy, tattered his clothing. Almost was incensed, telling him, he should have respected Zelina. In Vegas, just hot, a lot of heat behind her, just yelling and telling Black, this is what he gets for, his disrespect. They then leave, and the crowd tries to cheer on and rile up Aleister Black in support after, such a savage beatdown. And never saw Dakota Kai again. So that sucks. Main event time. Next team here advances to the finals of the Dusty Classic next week. The winners of the Dusty Classic actually not only win that trophy, which is way better than the Women's Battle Royal Uterus trophy, they get a shot at the NXT Tag Team Championships at New Orleans, which is pretty cool. Sanity against Roderick Strong, Pete Dunne. The match started with Roderick getting the upper hand on Alexander Wolf, using, his grappling ability to kind of keep this guy at bay. Had a simple headlock on him, but steered this guy all around the ring. This was until Wolf shot him off the ropes and then caught him with a really nasty scoop slam, and this prompted Dunne to kind of come into the ring and stand by his partner's side as, he recovered, and Eric Young stepped in also, and these guys kind of stared each other down. It was nice to see Pete Dunne have his partner's back. This rag, I think Mauro Ranallo called them a rag tag team, a ragtime tag team, something they were just kind of thrown together. They do good. They do well together. And this little sequence happened again as both teams tagged in their partner. Eric Young came in. Pete Dunne came in. I forget Roderick's partner for a second, even though I just said his name. It's early in the morning. Pete Dunne went ahead and got Eric Young down on the mat. Dunne kind of stomped on his arm as he was extended out, this beginning his joint manipulation and destruction of the limbs. And, Eric Young kind of was wincing on the ground, and Alexander Wolf came in and defended him, and so did Roderick Strong. They had another face-off, and could this be some sort of foreshadowing for a volatile situation here? But very nicely done how they did this. And the match got very good as they came back from the commercial break. Dunne and Strong hit these shotgun chops on Eric Young as they had him isolated in the corner. Just nasty. They hit like a pendulum backbreaker, stomp to the face combo, and the acoustics in this arena must have made those chops sound as bad as they did, because they were just, I felt for the guy here. Eric Young shot into the corner. He did an impressive flip over the turnbuckle to land on the outside, and it may just be me, but I love when these guys show their athleticism by doing little minor, like, aesthetic things like that. That's pretty cool. Slid under the bottom rope through Pete Dunne's leg to try to leap for a tag to Wolf, but another stiff stomp to his arm stopped his progression, and you almost had it there, Eric Young, but not quite. And the match kind of goes on as we get to the end here. Eric Young countered a suplex. He countered into a suplex from a submission that Pete Dunne had on him. That was a nice, impressive spot. Show that Eric Young has a lot of muscle on him. Young makes the tag, and so does Pete Dunne, so Roderick comes in as well. And Wolf and Strong, they slug it out until Wolf hit a literal German suplex, because he's a German, onto Roderick Strong, and then he hit a death valley driver, easy for me to say, for a near fall. So a slight mess up here. Besides me, there was a mess up in the match. Wolf dragged Strong over to Eric Young for a tag. And Eric Young has this finish. It's the wheelbarrow neckbreaker. You've held someone for a wheelbarrow before, like, you know, you have their legs and their arms, and they kind of walk on their hands. So Eric Young has them like that. He throws them up in the air, catches them for a neckbreaker. So as he does this, I imagine that as he goes to throw him up in the air, on the way up, Wolf was supposed to hit him with an uppercut. Instead, what he did, he helped Eric Young put him in the wheelbarrow. Then he kind of picked up Roderick Strong, gave him an uppercut, and then backed off. And then just kind of allowed Eric Young to go ahead and hit the wheelbarrow neckbreaker as he stood there and watched him do it. It was just kind of an awkward moment, but that's okay. It's all right. It's fine. The match was great besides that. You know, finishing sequence here. Crazy sequence. I can't even describe how it happened. Quickness and the 3-4 minutes they had to end the match here. Roderick Strong hit the end of Heartache to Alexander Wolf. The suplex into the backbreaker. Pretty sick move. Sent him out of the ring, and then the tag to Pete Dunne saw Roderick Strong throw Eric Young into a modified version of the bitter end, the flatliner, for a win. And these two teams look great. Authors of Pain been looking phenomenal the last few weeks. Roderick Strong, Pete Dunne kind of thrown together, but these two guys, their strong style, their agility, their technical prowess, those two as a team, they function very well together. So I don't know who's going to win. It'd be very interesting to see Authors of Pain win the Dusty Classic 2 times, but to see Roderick Strong actually win something worthy of note. And Pete Dunne deserves something as well. He's represented that UK Championship. He's been the only one really worthy of carrying that title. There's no challengers for it. So these two deserve a shot. They deserve a spot at NXT New Orleans, and I don't think there's many other deserving of that. So props. And that ends the NXT edition of the March 28th show proper. But just to kind of go over what's gone on in NXT, you know, since I've been on this little hiatus here, I missed the opportunity to talk about the greatest match in NXT history, which is Johnny Gargano against Andrade Almas. And just the drama and moves, the agility, the story told, just the sequencing in that match, the beginning of the match, the middle, the end. You could write a plot out for that match. And the story told by both competitors, and the backstory each individual had before they went into the match. It just gave the match a lot more history, especially with the series of matches they had prior to that. You know, a lot of the time you hear a match announced that you've seen before, you don't really care about it. Every time these guys were announced for a match, after their takeover match, they had one on NXT television, which was just almost as great as the one on the pay-per-view. So Johnny Gargano and Andrade Almas, I'd be remiss to not mention the series they had and just the talent they're bringing in. EC3 came in at the end of the show here. Ricochet was announced as the final member in the 6-man ladder match. So we have Lars Sullivan, Velveteen Dream, Adam Cole. Gosh, who else is in this match? Oh, I'm blanking on the spot. Adam Cole, Lars Sullivan, Velveteen Dream, EC3, Ricochet, and oh man, I might have to edit this out because I feel so embarrassed right now. There's 6. Okay, who was the first guy? All right, we're gonna do this. We're gonna see how my brain works live here on whereXT. So the first guy, this is how bad my memory is. First guy announced was EC3. Okay. The second guy they announced, EC3. Okay, God, I gotta look at my notes. Jesus Christ. I'm sorry, guys. Early in the morning, 7:52 is early. Oh my gosh. Okay, EC3, right? EC3 was the first guy. And then they had the Street Profits AOP match. See, now I'm grateful that Kathy Kelly was annoying this guy all night long. EC3, Adam Cole, Velveteen Dream, Lars Sullivan, Killian Dane is the other guy I couldn't get, and Ricochet. Those are the 6 guys in the ladder match for the North American Championship. And this is the one guy who you've probably heard or listened to all day with the worst memory. That's awful. That's really bad. But as I was saying, they just kind of built a foundation for phenomenal talent there. And I forgot to mention a segment they had where TM61 was talking in the back. And as they were talking, being interviewed, just to the left of them, you could see through the glass. You could see Shayna Baszler arguing with one of the NXT trainers. And at first, you couldn't really tell who it was because they're not really focused on it. But they are in the shot enough for you to actually see them talking and for you to see that Shayna is getting riled up and getting worked up about something. As TM61 wraps up the interview, you see Ember Moon step into the shot to argue with Shayna. So the timing of having the interview end with TM61 and having Ember Moon walk into the frame to the left of them in the other room, on the other side of the glass, and then to have the cameraman rush out of the first room into the second one and kind of say, "Excuse me," to see like the blurriness and just the action shot of the cameraman running into the other room, that's just like a unique way to transition from one angle to another. Just a little minor another aesthetic thing that NXT does differently that I maybe haven't seen before or haven't seen in a long time on the main roster, but just these little quirks and ways they transition from one thing to the other sometimes. They try to do it on SmackDown, like when for some reason Charlotte and Asuka are in the ring and Randy Orton's music comes out and his entrance bleeds into the segment that Asuka and Charlotte just had, and you think that Randy Orton's gonna talk some shit to Asuka, but he just kind of comes out for a match. It's like they try, but they don't really succeed. You don't know why they do that stuff. So I don't know, just kind of chatting about stuff I can think of at this point. I didn't really set up any feedback, just kind of came on and wanted to do a show here, but I'm looking around this room and I got to pack and clean, and oh gosh, if my girlfriend comes and takes a look right now and sees that I didn't get much done before she gets here, it's not going to be pretty. So I'm going to jump off now. But before I do that, got some fantastic news. I'm gonna brand this show and any shows between now and WrestleMania as the lost episodes. I kind of took a hiatus, and just for the simple fact that I don't remember what number episode this is, I'm just gonna call this the lost episode because I'm too lazy to look through my files and get a number. Completely honest. Going to be doing a prediction show with Emir, Moses Marquez, and potentially Mike Ibeza to talk about TakeOver New Orleans. I believe there's going to be a WrestleMania prediction show. Look out for that as well. So excited to even be mentioning this stuff right now. And also, season 2 of all of your favorite podcasts here on the RWT page. It's happening, coming back. Ring Psychology, this show, Smack Talks, some new content. I'd love to see a Raw podcast. 205 Live also kind of has been making things popping lately, so maybe we need to get someone covering that as well. But season 2 of all of your favorite shows here on the RWT page, they're coming back. I'm going to be a part of it. Will you be a part of it? I hope you will be. I hope you're a listener. Maybe you're a content creator, and I'm challenging you to get me on your show. Something. I don't know. Not really. But I'm excited for the future. I'm happy to be back. Happy to pump this show out. Hope you guys gave it a listen. Thanks for giving me an opportunity. If you listen this long, I have been Brian Green, your host for whereXT. I will see you guys next time. Have a great day.
I'm taking back what's mine, I ain't giving in to what they tell me.